Hey, fantasy football enthusiasts. Are you ready to dominate your draft this year? We've got the inside scoop on the top 10 running backs for 2025. From breakout stars to established fantasy powerhouses, we're breaking down all the must-have RBs that will carry your team to victory. Stick around, because you don't want to miss out on these game changers. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's jump straight into the rankings. We're starting with the heavy hitters, the running backs who are primed to make a difference in your fantasy league. Starting off with the player who's earned his spot at the top, Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons. After a slow start to his career, Robinson exploded in 2023, finishing as one of the best fantasy RBs. From week 6 on, he averaged a whopping 120.9 yards per game and 22.8 fantasy points per game. That's the top spot in fantasy points for running backs. Robinson's workload was monstrous, and he never dipped below 18 touches in a game. With the Falcons being one of the most run-heavy offenses in the league, Robinson's poised to put up similar numbers this season. If you're drafting in the first round, Bijan is a no-brainer. Do you agree with Robinson taking the top spot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Next up, we've got Jahmyr Gibbs from the Detroit Lions. Gibbs was an absolute powerhouse in 2024, racking up 20 touchdowns and finishing among the top in rushing yards and receiving yards for running backs. His splits are especially intriguing, with David Montgomery in the lineup. Gibbs still averaged 16.3 touches and 18.2 fantasy points per game. But when Montgomery was out, Gibbs' workload skyrocketed. 22.5 touches and an insane 31.5 fantasy points per game. Even with Montgomery back, Gibbs' dual threat ability in Detroit's high-powered offense makes him an easy RB1. Expect him to be one of the first few off the board in your draft. Will Gibbs be your top pick this season? Let us know in the comments if you're high on him. Moving on to a fantasy veteran, Saquon Barkley. After a stellar first season with the Philadelphia Eagles, which included a Super Bowl win and an Offensive Player of the Year award, Barkley remains a top-tier RB. He led the league in carries, touches, and scrimmage yards in 2024, finishing with 22.2 fantasy points per game. Yes, he did have a massive workload with 482 total touches, which could be a concern at 28 years old. But behind a dominant Eagles offensive line, Barkley's bound to continue dominating. He's still a first-round talent, so don't let his age scare you away. Do you think Saquon can stay healthy for another monster year? Hit the like button if you're still all in on him. Next, we're looking at Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's 2024 season was plagued by injuries. But don't forget about his elite potential when healthy. In the 3 games he played, he was still among the top backs, averaging 18.7 touches per game. Prior to last year's injury woes, McCaffrey had been a fantasy top 5 RB for 6 consecutive seasons. His dual threat ability as both a rusher and receiver in a well-oiled 49ers offense keeps him relevant, even with the age and injury risks. If he's healthy, he's still one of the best in the game. Can McCaffrey bounce back this season? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know if you're willing to take the risk. Don't sleep on Achane, one of the rising stars in fantasy football. Achane had an explosive 2024 season, finishing in the top 12 for carries, and receptions. His fantasy production was largely tied to the return of Tua Tagovailoa, with Achane averaging over 22 fantasy points per game with his QB under center. With his ability to catch passes and break big runs, Achane's a dynamic weapon in the Miami offense. As a dual-threat running back, he's locked in as an RB1 for 2025. Do you think Achane is ready for a breakout? Drop a comment below if you're high on his fantasy prospects this season. Jonathan Taylor is next on the list, still one of the league's most reliable workhorses. He finished in the top 5 for carries and rushing yards last season, averaging 4.72 yards per carry. He's a solid RB1 for 2025, but there's a slight concern about his lack of receiving involvement, which limits his overall ceiling. Nevertheless, if you want a running back who will get a ton of touches on the ground, Taylor is still an excellent choice for your team. Are you drafting Taylor this season? Let us know your take on his workload in the comments. Josh Jacobs is another veteran running back who's primed to deliver once again. He finished top 10 in nearly every major rushing category in 2024, including rushing yards and fantasy points. His efficiency in the passing game gives him a solid floor, and with Green Bay's offense looking stronger, Jacobs is a solid bet to finish as an RB1. Is Jacobs still a top-tier fantasy option? Let us know in the comments, what do you expect from him this season? Derrick Henry's a name everyone knows, and despite being 31 years old, he's still delivering. His 16 rushing touchdowns led the league last season, and he's continued to be one of the top backs for years. Yes, his lack of involvement in the passing game holds him back, but when it comes to pure rushing, there's no one like him. If you want a reliable, big play back, Henry's your guy. But be mindful of his age. Can the king keep it going? Drop a comment if you think Derrick Henry still has it in 2025. Bucky Irving is one of the most exciting breakout candidates for 2025. After a strong rookie season, he's poised for a big sophomore year. With elite efficiency and high fantasy production, Irving is a fringe RB1 who could rise even higher as the season goes on. Is Bucky Irving the next fantasy gem? Let us know if you're investing in him this year. Finally, Kyren Williams rounds out our top 10. With 31 touchdowns over the past 2 seasons, Williams has shown he can get it done near the goal line. His high floor makes him a consistent fantasy option, though the lack of receiving involvement does cap his upside. Still, as the Rams feature back, Williams remains a fringe RB1 with plenty of value. Do you believe Kyren Williams can continue his touchdown streak? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And there you have it, our top 10 running backs for the 2025 fantasy football season. These players will give you the edge you need to dominate your league. Remember to like, subscribe and comment below with your top picks for this year's fantasy draft. We want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and until next time, good luck with your fantasy drafts.